around, I'm gonna say this again, and this is why I've always brought it up. It's like, well, Illmatic sold 300,000 copies the first year it came out, and you niggas thought that you was gonna get that again when he is watching Snoop sell 4 million albums that year, watching Big go platinum, watching the Brat go platinum, watching Outkast go platinum, watching Wu-Tang go platinum, and you think he gonna make a product like that again? Stop that. And so I see you, Madman. So when people like get a problem with me talking about the money, like the money don't matter, yes, the fuck it does. That's how you got It Was Written in I Am. For all of y'all that pull up in here that love Nas, you know you got It Was Written in I Am because the money said not to make Illmatic again. Period. If the
I'm
money
sure the
was
people at
there,
Columbia, yeah.
if Illmatic goes double, triple platinum, there's no need to pivot. It's called the music business. The last word is business. As somebody with a business degree, my degree is in business. So when I'm pulling up here and I'm saying these things, I'm not just telling you with passion, like what my musical ear is telling me. I'm telling you what my business mind tells me. If you sell 300,000 copies in a time where hip hop is burgeoning and you're watching everybody literally sell millions of records, why? Name me one investor or one company, if it wasn't rap, that would go recreate that product. Why?
Well, I think that obviously you wouldn't go out there and recreate it, but I do think Columbia, and I've never talked to anybody in Columbia about this, but I would imagine the people at Columbia were like, look, this artist has a lot to grow on, right? Like, even though this album didn't do the units that other
Make the image
albums
match
and,
the rhymes.
huh?
Make the image match the rhymes. That was what Columbia was saying.
Well, I
Make
would,
the image match the rhymes. Like, give the guy, like, we know where the rhymes are, we know where the songs are. Can we get everything else right there for this go around? And that's what they did in Double Platinum.
they did. But again, I think it was very important, even if Illmatic didn't do, those necessary blowout numbers. I think it was a great foundation to grow on. You know what I'm saying? Like, because imagine if an album like Illmatic did sell a whole bunch of records. You really think he would really be chasing all kind of ghosts? You know what I mean? Because not only do
No,
you
no,
need
there
to
was, no,
not
no,
only do
no.
you need to match the quality of this, you got to match the numbers. You know what I'm
No, this is
saying?
what I'm saying. No, Mike, there would be no ghost of it because part of the ghost is that it didn't get notarized the way that it was supposed to. There is no ghost of the record if the record sells. Like, you want to know why there's no ghost behind Ready to Die, Mike? Because it did 1.5 million records. You want to know why there's no ghost behind Southern Playlist? A million records, Doggy Style. You want to know why there's no ghost behind Doggy Style? 5 million records sold. You feel what I'm saying? Those
You think that?
conversations
I
don't.
think there is a ghost behind Doggy Style. I think that
No. People are totally happy with Doggy Style and what it did.
no, they are happy with what it did, but I think that Snoop is always going to be chasing that record. I mean, he is. And I think
See,
that, I mean,
see,
it's
I
just,
don't think.
I
See,
think
no, no,
the
no,
fact that
no,
Illmatic
no,
is just
no,
that
Mike.
great.
That's not true. People have not. Nobody has pulled up on Snoop in the last 2 decades asking him to recreate Doggy Style the way people ask Nas to recreate Illmatic. That is
What
factually
people
untrue.
claim that Snoop only has one classic because of the level that Doggy Style is.
No, 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 no. Listen to what
And
I'm
they use
saying.
it to knock him as well.
But they don't ask him for it. They cool
I
with what
mean,
they
because
get
they
from Snoop.
understand Dre produced it.
Well, no, they're also happy with what they get from Snoop because Snoop gives them like hits and
He
songs that make
does.
right. So they don't go asking for Doggy Style. That's why being notarized and being a hit maker and being a personality matters.
Well,
That's why
this
all
go
that
look
shit
look
matters
hold, hold.
because it's like
Let's
no, no, no. You
rewind.
can have Doggy Style.
Let's rewind though, because I think this goes back to the beginning of our conversation today. Hit songs are what sells records, and we just had this whole thing with the De La Soul conversation. And let's just be real: as great as Illmatic is, you look at those hit records in '94. Those songs aren't as radio friendly as those other records. You mentioned what? Functified, Ready to Die, Doggy Style. Those
Southern
albums
Playalistic.
have Southern Playalistic. Those albums have hit records on them that, as great as Illmatic is, just didn't have. But that's okay. You know what I'm saying? Like
That's
you
part of
said,
the mystery because
next time they went out there and got a If I Ruled the World. Like that was the mission then.
but, but
Really,
that's
I
what I'm
think
saying.
Illmatic puts you in a good position to elevate and know what you know what I'm saying, are able to do commercially. I don't think Illmatic was supposed to have a commercial hit single. Do you?
No, but what I'm saying is that part of the lore of the album is that it didn't get really played in mass consumption areas, and so people kind of huddled it as like this core hip hop classic because the records weren't on the radio like that. It's
Right.
like no,
But I agree with what you're saying. But my thing is, do you think Columbia knew that ahead of time? Because it doesn't sound like to me, based on, we look at Ready to Die, we look at Functified, Doggy Style, Southern Playlistic, whatever. Didn't sound like to me Columbia was trying to put out a hit radio record on Illmatic. And if so,
this is what
what
I'm
record
saying.
was that?
I think Nas is Columbia's crash test dummy on what to do with the rap artist because I don't think they knew what to do until they put together Illmatic and
I
put it out.
agree.
This is all new.
Do
This
you
is what
think
I keep saying.
Illmatic was a
Mike,
success?
I mean, Mike, you know this. Like, it's 1993. Niggas have only been making albums on a regular basis for about 8 years.
Do you think Illmatic was a success?
On what level?
Just period. Do you think that the people at Columbia saw the record that they put out, everything that they cleared, the 9 songs? Do you think that they're pleased with
The only thing that is a
what
success
came
about
back?
that album is the actual album. You understand that? The actual music on
That's
the
what
album
I'm
is the
asking.
success.
That's
Yes.
what I'm asking.
But no, but Mike, listen to how we just had this conversation about how it's more than the music that comes in the totality of the shit really mattering.
Well, the impact was there, even without the crazy numbers.
The impact was there because it didn't do no numbers. That was part of the impact in the lore for people. It's
You
like
don't-
people almost huddled, like everybody bootlegged it and was like proud to bootleg it because it was the best thing they ever heard.
But you don't think that's part of the plan?
Okay, so look at it from relationship to this, Mike. If that's our best rap album, and in R&B and in the pop world, Thriller and Purple Rain are our best albums. Do you see what the problem with Illmatic not doing numbers is now? If it's like that, doesn't it need to reflect it the same way Thriller and Purple Rain reflect? If it's really our Purple Rain and our Thriller, if it's the Sistine Chapel and it's Mike, when I went to see Michelangelo's David, Mike, there were thousands of people outside and inside of the building to see it.
I understand what you're saying, but you're also, it's kind of apples and oranges because at that point, I think that the R&B world had been established. You know what I mean? Like, I think hip hop had gotten to a point where it was still very young, and the only people that were actually selling those kind of records were people who made massive crossover singles and had gin and juices out there, and they had we can say whatever we want about Illmatic. As great as it doesn't have those records on it. Like what song on Illmatic? Because we've already established that songs sell records, right? What song on Illmatic was supposed to get it 4 million?
The World Is Yours is probably the closest thing to it.
It's not going to do that.
Well, here's what I'm saying. Okay, Mike, you understand Nothing But a G Thing doesn't even have a hook.
I understand, but it's a way more radio-friendly record.
How? Falling back on that ass with a hellified gangster lean.
Nah, it's that ain't nothing but a G thing, baby. 2 low-down G's going crazy. It's catchy. And the beat, it is.
T-Rock's beat ain't dope?
It's not as catchy as that one. I'm sorry. It's not as infectious as G Thing.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, and 2. These are hit. Like, all these elements that are on G Thing is easy to repeat. You know what I'm saying? Like, these are hit elements to hit radio records.
Okay. So let's say that. It's 94, April 94.
Mm-hmm.
Why the fuck Columbia Records don't see that? The Chronic and the
I think they did.
No. Hold on. Did they?
I think
because
they did.
If they did, no, Mike, if they really seen that, then why the fuck does Illmatic sound that way? Because the Chronic and the Doggy Style, it's not like it's old, Mike. It just came out 18 months and literally 4 months before.
Agree.
They didn't see that.
I think personally, because the people
they did not see any of that.
Let me talk. I think personally, the people at Columbia that were there at the time were very, very smart musical people. I think that the plan for Nas was to establish him with a foundation of real core fans and not try to force a possible radio single and hit him next time as they did. Because I think if you try to force a radio single on Illmatic, you throw everything out the bag. Because at that time, it hadn't been proven that he could make a radio single at the level of Dre and Snoop or even with what Big was doing. So double down on the things that he does great and create a cult classic and come back and double down on it. Because
No,
clearly,
Mike.
on the second round, and back then, if you fucked up on the first round, it's no, you might not even get a second album. But clearly on the second round, they doubled down and, put opened the bank for them. So clearly that was part of the
There's gonna be no
plan.
more Nas after that, Mike. You
Huh?
can't sell 300,000 records when Big and them is going like and Pac and Ice Cube and Snoop and Big and Wu Tang and Da Brat and Outkast are going platinum.
I understand. I hear what you're saying, Coop. But listen to me. I don't think you're listening to me.
I don't think you do hear what I'm saying.
I hear what
Here's
you're saying.
what I'm
You're
saying.
not
No.
listening to me.
They trapped when I'm saying they didn't know what they're doing, Mike. Life's a Bitch got a sample by the Gap Band's Yearning for Your Love.
Okay.
It Ain't Hard to Tell. It's Human Nature by Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
No. They trying to pop.
I feel what you're saying. No, I disagree. I think they were in full support of the album. What I am saying, I think the plan was to establish him with a hardcore fan base and a solid fan base and make the best album possible.
Mike,
and then
that's a
on
record
the
label.
on the
Record
next
label has
album,
never thought like that in the history of record labels, Mike. Their goal is to sell records, to sell the artists, to make their money.
so
to
you
recoup.
come on, Coop. So you really
It's not
think?
concerned-
Hold
Faith-
on, listen to what I'm saying. I'm gonna ask you a question. You really think from those songs that were there that they thought that they had some song that was gonna be a crossover hit and sell millions of albums with that album?
Mike, I really thought that they thought probably that they were going to take New York radio back with some core hip hop, and I think
That's
Big,
a regional mindset.
No. I think Big and Puff and what Big and Puff did with Ready to Die was the rude awakening that was an old system. I've always told, and I've told you this, and I've said this on the show, Mike. Illmatic is not 1994. Illmatic is 1986 to 1993. Ready to Die is 1994. And what happened was Puff with Juicy and Big Papa. And then that pivoted everything. It became different for all the New York rap artists. Nas was just the best of the artists.
I want to talk to Faith Newman because I have this theory, and I would love to ask because she was in those rooms, same as Search. Did they go in there with the mentality that we got a platinum album here, or did they go in there with the mentality that we're gonna put out the best album possible and a cult classic, and then boom, once we get this artist established, then the next time we'll go out there and do that? Because if that was the plan, they did it. If that was the plan, they did it. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like if you're in the draft, it's like at some point you got to just draft the best player, right? Even if that.
So they took the best player.
Huh?
So they took the best player. No,
I ain't talking about that. I'm talking about the album part of it. So they said, you know what? We're just going to make the best album. We don't have a hit here. So instead of forcing a hit, we're just going to make the best album. And they did that. Because, this is my question to you. I don't see anything on that album based on the trajectory of that 4-year window that is a song that they thought on a national level was going to sell them millions of records. Now, they heard an album that was going to get this artist some hardcore fans, and that worked. You know what I'm saying? But there's no song there based on the hit songs from that year in the previous year that I could sit there and say, yeah, we're going to sell 2 million records with this song. And regardless if I Ruled the World or not, you could hear If I Ruled the World and say, you know what, this could take over summer radio.
There are Illmatic fans and then there are Nas fans.
Okay.
It's not the same thing.
Okay, what's that got to do with what I'm saying?
Because we're talking about Illmatic and we're talking about building something. Mm-hmm. What I'm telling you, listen to what I'm saying. The foundation of Illmatic, they literally scorched it all on the second album.
Yeah.
That means the shit didn't work. They scorched
it. That's not true.
We didn't say go make If I Rule the World. They said it because they knew they fucked up.
That didn't mean it didn't work. That means it was phase 2.
He made the best rap album ever. Yeah. But other than that, failed.
There's a such thing as phase 1 and phase 2. Phase 1, you could establish that fan base and you could establish that artist, which they did. In
This nigga was
phase
on.
two, you
Mike,
could bring in the big guns and get some radio and all of that stuff because that artist has already been established from a foundational standpoint. That could be part of planning. You know what I mean? And I think if that was what it was, they executed perfectly. And the only reason why I'm coming up with this is because there's nothing on Illmatic that I would send to radio and say, we're going to sell 10 million records with this. I mean, or 2 million records. Is there anything really? I mean, come on. Listen to Ready to Die and compare the two. There's nothing on there that you can say this is taking over radio.
Let me ask you something.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think The World Is Yours is even a gold caliber single?
At best, that's a stretch. Because it's regional, Coop. I love it. But you're not going to play The World Is Yours and the whole nation's going to rock to it. It's not like Juicy. There's no familiarity. You know what I mean? Like, Juicy has the
Juicy Fruit.
Yeah, the Juicy Fruit sample. There's the familiarity there. You know what I mean?
You mean like Yearning for Your Love and Human Nature?
Nah. I think the way it was executed on, no. I think that there's... No, let me finish.
So they didn't do their job.
No, that's like not. If you want to talk about not doing their job, that's more on the song structure because at least Juicy has a singing hook. Like it actually has a hook that people can repeat.
So I'm gonna say
The World Is Yours and It Ain't Hard to Tell aren't structured like that. If you're a rap fan, you like those records. But for the people who are, I guess, pseudo rap fans, can't get into that as easy as they can get into Juicy. And not to mention you got lines like Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis. These are radio-friendly things. You know what I mean? Like those records, those Nas records on Illmatic, as great as they are, don't have any of those elements.
Right.
And they knew that, though. They know that.
Right.
They were like, look, they were like, listen, let's just make the best album possible, and we'll hit the radio shit next time. And they did that.
No, I really thought that they still thought. No, listen to what I'm saying. He is such a prodigy around that time to them that they're thinking that whatever he makes is going to go platinum, and they got slapped in the face with a rude awakening.
You think they believe that?
That's not the truth. Yes, he is literally. Mike.
When has Rap Skills ever sold records, though, Coop?
I mean, actually. If you actually want to look at it, Mike, most of the guys who were going gold were some of your most skillful guys. Tribe was going gold. Rakim was going gold. KRS-One was going gold.
Yeah.
LL Cool J was going gold. These are some of your most skillful guys. The skillful guys are the ones selling records. How about this?
But Hammer was doing 10 million.
Hold on. Paid in Full outsold Illmatic in its first year almost times 2.
Because Paid in Full had bangers. Do you hear what you're saying? Paid in Full had I Ain't No Joke. Paid in Full had Eric B. as President. Paid in Full even had My Melody that was banging out here. Paid in Full had the song Paid in Full. No. Paid in Full had the song Paid in Full. Tell me a record that is going to be spinning at any clubs, any radio on Illmatic like the song Paid in Full. There isn't one. That just proves the fact that singles sell albums.
So this is what I'm saying. No. This is what I mean about how the era accepts certain things. Mike, I love Paid in Full. I love the record. Love the record. Paid in Full is not better than It Ain't Hard to Tell, Mike.
It's a better radio record. It is. Whether you think it's a better record or not, it's the better radio record between the two. If you play both of those to me...
What makes the record better?
The production, the delivery, even the records...
delivery?
Yeah, the delivery.
Delivery?
Yes, the delivery of being able to repeat things, thinking of a master plan. Yeah, these are opening lines. These are things that are important
in radio. You're talking about the quotable part of it. Mike, if that's the case, Prodigy's better than most of these niggas if we're talking about the quotable shit, Mike. That's what I'm saying. That quotable shit ain't it, Mike. Prodigy
I'm talking about
going.
Cool. I'm talking about going to radio.
Right. So I'm bringing up Prodigy because Prodigy is the.
Bring up a song. Don't bring up Prodigy. Bring up a song that you think is a better radio record than Paid in Full and Eric B. as President by Prodigy.
No, he doesn't have a better radio record.
So I'm saying, like, those things are important. And those 3 records are better radio songs than everything on Illmatic. Now,
I mean, Mike, I would quibble with you about paid in full. It ain't hard to tell. There ain't no difference to me. Like about anything, about the like outside of the thinking of a master plan, but ain't nothing but sweat and like except for the intro. There's nothing different about the records to me in terms of what should be played on radio or not.
Cool.
It's
I'll
the
tell you the
Michael
big
Jackson
difference.
Human Nature sample,
I understand
Mike.
what
How
you're
much
saying.
more friendly do you want the nigga to be in 94?
The drums. It's a darker tone.
The drums are better. So you think that they did a better production job than Large Pro did with It Ain't Hard to Tell?
I wouldn't just say a production job. If you're talking about going to radio, yes. They made the better radio record. Yes. You know what I'm saying? And you know what's a big part of that though, Coop? Is a DJ was in the group. A DJ who actually was in radio, and Marley Marl was in there who's in radio helping make this record.
That's fair.
He made better radio records because radio people were making the album.
That's fair. But Mike, you do understand that it's like, well, Faith was in the room. Search was in the room.
Yeah.
Primo was in the room. Pete Rock was in the room. You know Q-Tip, you know the author of Bonita Appleblom, Check the Rhyme, Award Tour, and Electric Relaxation before this album came out is on there. He gave that nigga one love.
You're making my point. I feel like these smart people, their direction was to make a great album, not a radio record.
They made the great album thinking it was going to sell, Mike, because when you make an album like this, it usually sells.
Oh, when?
Mike, every time everybody else has made a quality rap album like this, it has sold. Illmatic is like Mike, name an album that's as quality as Illmatic that didn't go gold the first year it came out.
I'm asking you. You said every time you make an album that's great, it sells.
No. I'm telling you, this is the only album like this that didn't go gold the first year that it came out.
Tell me an album that is quality like this that doesn't have any radio singles that sold.
America's Most.
Huh. Okay.
Double platinum. Hello.
Okay. Who's the
What's
Mac?
The big single. Who's the Mac's the single?
Yeah.
Mike,
you know what?
The World Is Yours. It Ain't Hard to Tell. One Love or Who's the Mac?
I feel you. All right. This is what I'll say in rebuttal to that. Ice Cube's coming out of NWA, and he has the whole coast behind him. So, you know,
Nas is coming off of Halftime, and he's coming off of being off of Main Source's Breaking Atoms.
That's not coming out of NWA, though. You know, a lot of what Cube did was just sheer, you know, interest on what Cube is going to do after NWA. You're coming out of the world's most dangerous group and jumping out doing solo and making a solo with the Bomb Squad. Now, I feel what you're saying, but I think a lot of those elements added into how successful that record was. And not to mention, Kill It Will is coming in there to warm people up for it. So it's a little different.
No, I hear you. I got to get out of here.
Okay, let's get through these super chats and get out of here. LP with the super chat. Great conversation.
No, it's a great combo. I'm just asking questions today. I'm sorry I have to remind people that I have a business degree. Too many people think that we just be pulling up here talking music like we don't have other aspects or periods or personality traits of expertise. So excuse me if I start talking about business and music and money, seeing how it's called the motherfucking music business.
Well, I do.
Some of the niggas be in the chat. I guess we talking about the music business today. Yes, nigga, we talking about the music business today because it's called the music business. I'm sorry we couldn't get you like hardcore hip-hop rap fix today. I actually had to teach you niggas some economics for once, or some accounting, some information systems, some business statistics. Stop acting like this shit don't exist.
What I would want to know, though, is from the people that were there in that room at Columbia, if making a classic album was their goal, and like you said, did they project it to sell a lot, or were they thinking that, okay, this is going to be a gold album, but it's going to be a cult classic? I would want to know those answers for the people in the room. LP with the super chat says, boom bap and traditional bass sample hip hop never sold like that. The albums that have sold mostly always had a bigger and more accessible sound.
Follow the Leader sold 800,000 units too. What's the accessible sound on there?
Well, he has Microphone Fiend on there. That's a big record. Microphone Fiend's a big radio record.
Microphone Fiend might be my favorite Rock M record, but I'm telling you, it's like, so is it about the samples that are being picked now? Is that what you're
That's part of it.
Sample?
Yeah, the rhythms and all that
So
stuff matters.
the human nature sample isn't good enough for Nas, but it was good enough for SWV. The yearning for your love sample by the Gap Band wasn't good enough. That's what I'm
Well, yeah,
saying. It's like,
I can't. I will tell you this: SWV put it out slightly before him, and it was a big hit. And I think that could have drowned out some of the momentum of that because we had just heard that sample used on a hit record. So that could have been part of it too. Mad Max with the super chat says, "If Representing had a real hook, that could sell." I like Represent. I don't see Represent as a hit record like that. I think The World Is Yours is probably the closest. I agree with you, Coop, on that. Vernon with the super chat says, why does Pusha T have on Bucci cutters? Shaking my head.
good night.
Come on, Ye. We need Ye to come and say. We need Daytona too.
Every time you say yay, Mike, we lose like $25 to $50.
Jay Short with the super chat says, Mike, you don't think
Hey,
One
talk
Love
business.
It said, Mike, right? You don't think that One Love could have done bigger numbers with the right promo and video? I do.
Thank you.
I don't think
Thank you. Stop saying that, Mike. Stop.
I think One
Mike.
Love is more of a gold record, but again, listen.
Mike, how about this? Old Dirty Bastard went platinum. Brooklyn Zoo and Shimmy Shimmy Y'all. Now you're telling me that went platinum, but it ain't hard to tell The World Is Yours and One Love didn't?
This
like,
is the thing we gotta face.
Brooklyn Zoo's rougher than all those records, Mike, and you know it.
But it's a party record. This is what we have to
Brooklyn
understand.
Zoo is not a party record, Mike. That is on some street shit,
It
Mike.
is. It's a street party record. They play that in the club. Let's be
I gotta
real.
go, Mike. I'm already behind. We gotta run.
All right, man. We'll finish this Friday, but I'm gonna finish up the super chat, man. Do your thing. LP with the super chat says, "Ready to Die did 57,000 the first week with the actual singles. It took off while it started. I'm sorry, it took a while for it to start to sell. There was no data that showed an album like Illmatic is going platinum." I agree with that. KC1 with the super chat says, Coop, you're out of line. Illmatic is 2 times platinum and is the greatest album ever. How is it not a success?
It is today.
What was MJ and Prince's first album like?
Better than 300,000.
Well, yeah.
Mike, the Vibe article for it was written, starts off by mentioning the fact that Illmatic only sold 300,000 copies its first year. That's how I know.
Yeah.
Because that's how the slander article starts that I always talk about. Well, you know, Illmatic only sold 300,000 copies as opposed to the 1.5 Ready to Die did. Hello, as opposed to the 5 million Snoop did. Hello, as opposed to the 1 million Da Brat and Outkast did. Hello.
But singles took them there, you know, and remixes for Ready to Die specifically. Yeah. All right. Well, we're gonna holler at y'all Friday. Great show, great discussion.
Fascinating conversation.
Right. Holler at you guys.